Right. Hello, people. You're going to have to let me know if this is working, if you can see me, if you can hear anything, because I have no idea. The top box above me should be showing the chat. It's probably tiny though, and is probably doing a terrible job at showing the chat. But yeah. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me or see me. Might be lagging a little bit at the moment, but that should sort itself out. So this is my current team. Now, as you can see, I've got 2 free transfers. I've got 4 million in the bank, because I sold Palmer to Saar last week. Drop a comment if you can see or hear me, or neither, but let me know. Yeah, I've got 4 million in the bank. I've got 2 free transfers, so we've now got options. We've now got options given that Saar is out. We have lagging, yeah, I thought it might be. Webcam lagging like crazy. Yeah, okay. Right. Let me try and fix that. Don't quite know why it's doing that, but it shouldn't be. Hopefully it will sort itself out in a second. But can you hear me okay? Is it just that my webcam's lagging, or you can hear me okay, right? Let me know if you can hear me or not. Hopefully it will sort itself out a little bit, like I say. But yeah, my transfer plans. So if you watch my team selection video, it's very, very similar. Not a lot has changed since that. I mean, we found out that Saar is likely to be out for a couple of weeks. Now, there is a world where I could keep him now because of that, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to want him. If he's going to miss Sunderland at home and then West Ham in game week 4 and 5, then do I even want him after that? That's what I'm thinking about. Sound is fine. Chewy, hello, bro. Sound is fine. Okay, well, as long as the sound is fine, that's okay. I mean, hopefully the webcam sorts itself out a little bit. But yeah, so my thinking is, yeah, Saar could be fine for, if he's out for the next 2, then he could be fine for game week 6, but I'll be free hitting in game week 6 anyway. And do I really want Saar after game week 6? Probably not. So I think I'll probably have to sell him this week regardless. I mean, my plan is still to bench boost in game week 8 and to free hit in game week 6. Like I say, if you watch my team selection video, you'll know that I've got enough funds to do Saar to Semenyo and Mateta to... In fact, let me show you. This could make it lag even more, but I've got enough funds to do this, which is Saar to Semenyo and Mark Gui to Mateta. Now, that does give me a bit of a benching headache. It's my only issue. As you can see, that this is benching Reinders. I think the decision would probably be between Reinders and Thiago. I don't really want to bench Thiago because I don't like benching penalty takers. I know he didn't take the most recent penalty, but Sharda did miss the penalty and it was absolutely terrible as well, that pen. So yeah, I do think that Thiago will probably be back on penalties now. I don't really like benching penalty takers, like I say, and I don't have any Chelsea defenders, so I don't mind starting Thiago. I can't bench anyone else. I can't bench Obviously not going to bench Salah. I can't bench Verts this week. I can't bench Watkins. I can't bench Mateta. Semenyo's got Brighton at home. I like that fixture, so I wouldn't be benching him. Bruno Fernandes has City away, but he just seems like a bit of an unbenchable guy. So I highly doubt I'll be doing that, which means it's Reinders bench. I don't like it. I'd quite like to play Reinders, but it is what it is. I'll probably end up benching Reinders next week as well. So I'll be benching Reinders 2 weeks in a row, which is far from ideal. But next week it's Arsenal away, or Arsenal kind of fine away. Wow, that's fine. But if Ndai doesn't play, so and then you're just going to set up your bench so that you get all the guys if Ndai doesn't play. He didn't really seem. When I say him, I mean the manager. Didn't seem like it was going to be that bad for Ndai. So I think he's more likely to start than not. So I can't remember where he starts. I don't want to get really excited by that. But if he does start, then he's a really good option this week, which is the only issue. I would probably put Gui first on your bench ahead of Williams. I think that was quite a long-winded answer, but yeah, I'd put Gui ahead of Williams on your bench and just start Ndai. Because if Ndai starts, he's great for this week. Aston Villa have been terrible. Shavind, best replacements for Cunha. Really tempted by Xavi Simons, just unsure if it's too early. Yeah, everything coming out of Tottenham is quite positive about him. I think Thomas Frank said in his press conference earlier that Simons is way closer to being, or is match fit compared to Kolo Muani. So I think Xavi Simons is quite a nice punt. We don't know for sure, but he could run some set pieces, could take some set pieces off of Pedro Porro. But yeah, I kind of like him. If you don't have Semenyo, I'd just go for Semenyo personally. I think he's so risk-free. The bloke just takes ridiculous amount of shots. Now his finishing does leave a little bit to be desired. Bloke just kind of hits the ball as hard as he can towards the goal, and quite a lot of the time that does work. So I'm just going for Semenyo. Really, I think Xavi Simons is quite a good punt though. If you want to go for someone quite different, or if you've already got Semenyo, then I don't mind Xavi Simons at all. Spurs fixtures are pretty good. There's people like selling Spurs defenders, but I don't really think you need to do that. I quite like Spurs fixtures, and I think the performance against Bournemouth was probably a one-off. I can't see Spurs being that bad again. Chewy, probably selling Ndai myself. Unfortunately, would love to keep him, but don't really want to start a Forest player this week. Yeah, I do kind of get that, and this is coming from the Ndai truther himself in Chewy. Yeah, I don't know your exact situation, but I completely agree. Starting Forest players this week is not it. Don't want to be doing that. But not easy. Okay. What did it say? It said, I will do a draft. I'm on it, but don't know about a few people and XK now that you can sign. Yes, I hopefully works to the free hit draft that I put together for the video. For me, anyway, it would be Mateta, Munoz, and one other, either Lacroix or Pino, personally. Then the Liverpool triple up for me would look like Salah, Van Dijk, and one other, whether that be a Gakpo, Wirtz, Ekatike, whoever that is. I don't think you need to worry about any of those three. I don't think Isak starts this week, so I think on free hit you can just go with any of those three and be absolutely fine. A lot of you won't want to go for Wirtz, obviously. In this one, he was kind of just a placeholder to show that he would be a second Liverpool attacker. So I'd do that. And what you can do here, though, is change some players around. So now that we've got João Pedro news, I wouldn't be going with João Pedro. João Pedro can drop out of here, and you can put Voltemada in that forward slot, and then you can either change Pope or you can change one of the Newcastle mids into, I don't really know who, to be honest. Well, I suppose you could change one of the mids to Xavi Simons. I do quite like. I think he's going to start pretty well. I mean, all that Spurs have been doing is posting training videos of him, and he looks sharp. I mean, that's a bit of a weird thing to say, given that it's just training, but yeah, best mid for free hit. So yeah, I do think that you go Salah, you go one other Liverpool, then you either go Pino, then you get down to like the Pino, Simmons, Newcastle mids, is my opinion on it. Because yeah, like I say, I definitely want triple Liverpool. I definitely want triple Palace. And then I've got triple Newcastle here. I think I would go with triple Newcastle if I were on free hit. I think I'd definitely want Gyökeres in my team. And then that one other slot can be anyone. Whether that's a midfielder, it probably is a midfielder, because I'd want Gyökeres, Mateta and Voltemade now. Meaning that you've got a midfielder slot free. So yeah, it can be anyone at that point. But this is roughly what I'd be going with on free hit, I think. Let me go back to my plans here. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. So whilst there's no other messages in the chat to go over right now, my plans, I just want to go over them briefly. So bear with me. But my thinking is, yeah, so I've done the transfers on screen. So as you can see, it says 2 out of 2 transfers. What I've done there is I have done Gui to Mateta and Sarr to Semenyo. It's given me a benching headache this week because I've got Reinders on the bench and it could be Thiago on the bench, but I think I prefer benching Reinders. I don't like benching penalty takers, and I think Thiago's on pens. Now, what this week I prefer, so yeah, I'll just get that to go next week because I'll scroll slightly up. Game week 5. This is game week 5. So here I've got Kelleher with him at home. I've got Obai, which is an Oak shot. I've Burnley, Richards at home. Salah with Newcastle. Bruno at home. That's with Everton at home. And then I've got Mateta with a good fixture. Thiago with a good Bravka and so I don't mind that. I could probably roll down to 6 is when I'll probably start using that transfer again. I'll probably sell that in game week 7, given that those good fixtures will be done almost like that. This is when I'll start looking to get Arsenal players in from game week 7. So Gyökeres will come in at some point. Watkins has Burnley in game week 9, so I'll be waiting game week to do Watkins. I am just have point 2. 21 to do so I can take some money out of somewhere. Probably I'll take it and move him. Thing is, I either move Wirtz down to a cheaper mid and go Murillo up to an Arsenal defender like Gabriel, or if Saka's back, then I'll do Wirtz up to Saka, and then I'll take money from somewhere else. I mean, Gyökeres could be about 9.5. Let me go back to my current team. So another option, I mean, I'm just waffling on my team here at the moment, but another option I've got is to do, like I mentioned, I've got Sarr to Semenyo and Gui to Mateta. I could just do one of those. Now, that could look like just Gui to Mateta, meaning that I bench Sarr and then probably have to deal with him next week because I've got Reinders. Or I just keep Sarr, bench him, play Reinders against Arsenal next week, free hit, and then I've got Sarr when he's probably back fit again in game week 7. But I'm not sure I want him that far down, really. Or another option is that I just do the Sarr move. So I do Sarr to Semenyo. Again, I don't have this benching headache because then I keep Gui. Gui could even start, so I'd put him first on the bench. And then I play Reinders. That does mean I don't have Mateta, and I do really like Mateta this week. So not as keen on that one. And actually Mateta is someone that I may even want to keep Watkins later down the line, so I could do Mateta up to Gyökeres somehow. That probably involves moving Verts down, but this is me just waffling on about my team anyway. If you've got any questions, then drop them in the chat and I'll answer them. I know that my webcam is lagging, but hopefully the sound is still all good. Let me check if there's been any news since I've been live. Don't think there has been anything that is worth chatting about, to be honest. No, probably not. My vice captain is obviously on Sarr right now. That wouldn't be the case if I did, or I say if, when I do Sarr out, or if I get Mateta in, I'll just put it on Watkins or Mateta or something like that. And Sweeney. Free hit, Ekatike and Dewsbury Hall, or Voltemada and Semenyo. I would personally definitely have Voltemada in my free hit team. I don't know if you need Semenyo on free hit, but what that would mean is you could do Voltemada and Gakpo, because that means you've got a Liverpool spot free. If you're not doing Ekatike, you could do Voltemada and Gakpo. I don't think that Gakpo's at risk this week. I think he starts. Maybe his minutes are managed. Maybe Isak gets some minutes with Gakpo coming off. But I think Voltemada is someone I definitely have. On free hit, I always kind of like to... Something that I try to do is pick a really good differential that like nobody else is going to have. Like, not many people are going to bring in Voltemada this week in their normal team, for example. So, and it looks like he's going to start with Vissa out. I think that there's not really a world where Voltemada doesn't start. Gordon is still suspended. Wissa's injured. They looked useless when they played some weird formation the other day. I think they go back to wingers. I think they go back to Elanga and Barnes, and I think Voltemada starts up top. So I think he's the perfect differential to go for on free hit this week. The Wolves' defence has looked absolutely awful, in my opinion. They've looked like one of the worst defences. I mean, against City, you can't really blame them for looking bad against City because City were just really good in that game. But even since then, they just really haven't looked like a good defence. So I would definitely have Voltemada on free hit. And yeah, like I said, I don't think you need Semenyo, but I think you can go for Gakpo in that slot if you're not doing Ekatike. Maybe you've already got Gakpo in your team, I don't know. But I don't hate Semenyo, but I'd want to make sure I've got a Liverpool triple up, essentially. And I don't think Gakpo is that much worse than Ekatike. Obviously, Ekatike is probably more likely to be the guy that comes off for Isak because that would just be a straight swap. There is obviously a world where Gakpo comes off instead, but yeah. I think I just about prefer Gakpo to Ekatike this week for that reason. Free hit's actually quite exciting this week. I mean, I did show the draft a minute ago, but triple Liverpool, and it's a triple Liverpool that you can do quite easily, given that we pretty much know Isak's not going to start. You can triple up on the attack if you wanted to. And then you triple up on Palace, and a lot of people have Sarr in their actual teams, like myself. So you get a nice triple up because you can go Mateta, you can go Munoz, and then you can either go Lacroix or you take a punt on someone like Pino. Then you can find a really interesting triple up on Newcastle, or at least double up. You can go Gyökeres for this good fixture because other people, like myself, for example, are slightly put off of going for Gyökeres now in my actual team because the two fixtures after this one are pretty rough. But this fixture is really nice. So there's some pretty good options you can do on free hit. I quite like it. My team so far is Raya, Munoz, Gehi, Anderson, Van de Ven. Is that Van de Ven or Van Dijk? If it's Van de Ven anyway. Salah, Gakpo, Semenyo / Dewsbury Hall, Mateta, Haaland, Voltemada / Ekatike. Oh no, it can't be Van Dijk. It must be Van de Ven. I'm not sure about that 4 at the back. I mean, yes, FPL is different these days because there's defensive contributions and such. I mean, I like a lot of these players. Obviously, Salah's a lock. Munoz is a lock. Haaland, I'm not sure I'd have Haaland personally, but that's more personal preference. I like Gakpo in there. Yeah, like I say, I'd go Voltemada in here personally, and then that potentially means you can go for. You might not be able to afford it actually. I was going to say you could do Voltemada and Wirtz. So you've got a triple up of Liverpool midfielders. Or you could just go in and get Van Dijk. So you could do Voltemada, Semenyo, and then somehow get Van Dijk. Just make sure you've got a Liverpool triple up somehow. But I prefer Voltemada over Ekatike. Would you play Van de Ven or Wood this week, mate? Oh, I'd 100% play Van de Ven. That goes almost without saying. I'd definitely play Van de Ven this week. I've got Van de Ven in my team, as you can see on screen, and I'll definitely be playing him. Arsenal, is Arsenal away? Yeah, it is. Arsenal away is about as bad a fixture as you can get, so I would definitely be playing Van de Ven. I think people are overreacting about that Spurs performance against Bournemouth. I mean, before game week 3, sorry about the lagging as well, I can see it's really bad. Before game week 3, people were talking about how this Spurs defence is unbelievable. One bad game, and don't get me wrong, it was a bad game. Spurs were pretty awful against Bournemouth. But one bad game seems to have made people go really cold on them. People are selling these Spurs defenders. I'm happy to play double defence this week. Again, West Ham, before game week 3, everybody was saying how awful they are. Now, don't get me wrong, played pretty good against Forest. Forest were very bad. Don't get me wrong, very bad. But when West Ham kind of made the subs, put Somerville on, put Wilson on, they looked a good team. But regardless, I think the Spurs are absolutely fine this week. I don't think you need to worry about playing. I'm happily playing double Spurs defence this week. So yeah, I'd play Van de Ven over Wood all day. I'm not going to stay on loads longer because this lagging is probably actually really annoying. When I do future live streams, I'll make sure I sort it out so that it doesn't lag like this, because this is probably thoroughly annoying. Hopefully the sound's still all good anyway. I mean, the sound bar's still going up and down fine, so I assume it is. But yeah, let me go back to my free hit team that I put together earlier in the week. So yeah, like I say, I would make changes to this, and I wouldn't have João Pedro after what I've had thrown on him. I have a slot instead of João Pedro, and that means either getting rid of one of Elanga or Barnes or Pope. Doesn't really matter which. Yeah. And then I think, yeah, you can take a punt on someone there. You can take a punt on a Pino and get someone instead of Lacroix. Or you can take a punt on a Xavi Simons. I don't hate that. Or you could just go for a Semenyo, because Semenyo is good as well. But like I said, I do really like free hit this week. Like I mentioned, you get Gyökeres without then having to keep him for his next 2 fixtures, which aren't great. You get whatever Liverpool triple up you want, and that probably involves getting Gakpo and Ekatike points before you likely have to sell one of them for anyone, because Isak's coming in. You get whatever Palace triple up you want. You get to own some Newcastle players that most people don't own. I really like it. Right, let's go back here and let game week 4 here. So yeah, this is my team. If I make the 2 transfers, I'm looking at making. Benny, what's up? Or I can actually here. The camera is a problem. I'll sort it out before next week for sure. Well, actually, has what I've just done sorted it out a bit? It may well have sorted it out a little bit. I think. All I did was unplug my second screen and put the charger in instead. Hopefully, oh no, okay, still lagging. Not me. I do Mark Teta, Sartus, and give myself a bench headache because I've run first on bench. But so be it. Points are better than points from players that you don't have. Actually, are they? They're probably not. It's a bit of a weird thing to say, I think. So, regardless, I just don't think I can bench Thiago. I think Thiago is just a. I think he's really good. I don't think the Chelsea defence is as good as we ruled out. So that's that. Secondly, game week 1, I just don't think the defence is as good as it's being made out to be, or as I think it is. So I don't mind starting on this one. Like I said, sharp. So penalties this week. I mean, one shot ahead of. I like him. I think he's a very good 6 million option, and I'm glad that I have him in my team, to be honest, because some of the other forwards are in a bad spot right now. I mean, Strand Larsen, I feel quite bad, and I think if you own Strand Larsen, you've got quite unlucky, to be honest, because Strand Larsen in game week 1 looks like a really good pick. I thought that against City, it looked like essentially the team, Wolves were basically set up to get the ball down the wing to whoever, Keanu Hoover was on the right wing back. He played quite well going forward. It looked like the idea was get the ball out wide and then basically feed Strand Larsen. Just hit the ball into the box towards Strand Larsen. He had quite a few shots from it. None of them. Obviously did a lot, but I think the Strand Larsen looked really good. I think he probably is going to be on pens when he's fit as well. So I just don't see, when he's fit, I just don't see a world where he's a bad option. I think he's a really good option. Now, Wolves' defence is poor, but that doesn't mean unlucky, I'd say. Right, I've been on for about half an hour. I probably won't stay on that much longer given the lagging issues. And how annoying that probably is for you guys. So if you do have any questions, just drop them in the chat now before I jump off. See, the one thing with this team, my team, is that let me go back here. I'm tempted to keep Gui. I mean, Gui is such a differential. He really is a differential. But I haven't said that. I've got the wrong fixtures on here. Because he doesn't play Crystal Palace away. He plays Brentford away. Meaning that if I play Gui, he's playing against my goalkeeper. So, well, realistically, I don't think I'll start Gui anyway. If I make both transfers, I've got a benching headache, so I'd bench him regardless. But yeah. drop any further questions you've got into the chat. But if not, then I will dip off in a few minutes probably, because like I say, the lagging is far from ideal. I'll sort it out before the next time I stream. I think it's actually just a problem that my computer is just terrible more than anything. I don't think it's like a Wi-Fi problem, because my sound is fine. I think it's more that I need some more kind of CPU on my laptop. But yeah, this is, yeah, like I say, this is my team on screen without any transfers made at the moment. And like I say, I'm likely to do Sarr to Semenyo, Gui to Mateta, bench Reinders, expect bench points. Also, actually, one thing I want to talk about is Forest players. So many people are wanting to sell their Forest players this week. I think that is incredibly dumb. I think that next week, I'm looking at my phone so I want to get the fixtures up. I think next week you're going to want Forest players. Now, Forest have been bad, don't get me wrong. They have been very bad. And the fixture when you did really want them to be good was the West Ham one. You thought they probably would be good against West Ham at home. So I get why you'd be off on these Forest players now. But Burnley away, now statistically, Burnley have been the worst defence in the league so far. They're 20th for shots conceded. They're 20th for XG conceded. They're 20th for most defensive stats. So you want Chris Wood against Burnley. Then you've got Sunderland at home. They haven't looked that bad, but they're still a promoted team, so it's still a good fixture. I just don't think you want to sell your... Unless you've got Ola Aina, obviously you sell him because he's out for a while. If you've got Williams, it looks even better for you now, because Aina is out, meaning that Williams' minutes are probably just good now. So I wouldn't be selling him. I wouldn't be selling Wood. I wouldn't be selling any... apart from Aina, he's the only Forest player I'd sell this week. I just think you're going to want them back next week when they've got good fixtures. But that's up to you. Right. Okay. If there is no further questions, then I'm going to dip off. If you have any questions, then drop them to me somewhere. Drop them in a YouTube comment. That's probably the best place for them, as in I'm most likely to see it if you drop it in a YouTube comment on one of the videos. But yeah, thank you for watching along this one. And like I say, I'll sort out this webcam nonsense. I mean, it seems all right at the moment, but I'll sort out this webcam nonsense and this lagging issue by the next time I stream. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and have a fantastic game week 4 and weekend.